Zara stood quietly near the edge of the royal balcony. From here she could see the glowing towers of her home planet Velmera. The skies were violet, the air filled with soft lights from floating ships. Everything looked peaceful. But inside her heart, there was a storm. She had just learned the news. Her mother, the High Queen of Velmar, had arranged her marriage. But not to a prince, not to a warrior from their own world. No. Zara was to marry a human. A soldier from a faraway planet called Earth. The door behind her slid open with a soft hum. Her mother entered, wearing the long silver robe of the royal bloodline. Her eyes, glowing faintly green, were calm but firm. "Zara," the queen said, "you must accept this." Zara turned around, her voice low but sharp. "Wait. You want me to marry someone I've never met? Someone who isn't even from our world? This marriage is not just for you, it's for peace. For survival," the queen said. "Earth's strength in battle is unmatched, and we need allies. The war between the outer colonies is coming closer." Zara crossed her arms. "So I must give up my life for peace." "You are not giving up your life," the queen said. "You are becoming part of something greater." Zara wanted to shout, but she held herself back. Arguing never worked with her mother. The queen always thought with her crown, not her heart. Next day, Zara stood in the great hall of the palace. It was built from crystal stone, the walls humming with quiet energy. Bright light flowed through the tall windows. A group of Velmeran nobles sat around the edges, watching in silence. At the center stood a Mantha human. He was tall, with short dark hair and a solid frame. His skin was sun-touched, stamped straight like a soldier's. He wore a dark uniform with silver markings across the chest. His name was Jace. He looked up at Zara as she entered, and their eyes met for the first time. She expected him to bow, or look away, but he didn't. Instead, he gave a small, respectful nod, his eyes calm but sharp. He wasn't afraid of her. It surprised her. Zara walked slowly toward him. The room was quiet. Every step she took echoed like thunder in her mind. She stopped a few feet away from him. "You are the human they chose," she said. "And you are the princess they spoke of," Jace replied, his voice steady. Zara raised an eyebrow. "Don't sound pleased." Jace gave a small smile. "I didn't come here to smile. I came to follow orders." Zara almost smiled back, but she kept her face serious. "So, we're both being used." He nodded once. "Seems like it." Later that evening, they were taken to a royal chamber where they could speak alone. Guards stood far back. Inside, a quiet fire burned in a floating orb above them. The walls shimmered with star patterns that changed with mood. Zara sat across from Jace. They were served a simple meal food from both their worlds. She pushed the plate away. "I don't want this," she said. "Any of it." "Me neither," Jace said. "But it's not really about what we want." Zara looked at him more closely now. Didn't look like a threat. Wasn't soft either. There was something in his eyes, something steady. She had seen many warriors before, but Jace was different. "You don't seem afraid," she said. "I've fought in 5 wars," he replied. "Fear is just another tool. Use it or it uses you." She leaned back. "They say humans are wild, emotional, quick to anger. And you aliens," Jace said, "are cold, controlling, always speaking in riddles." Zara gave a small laugh. Just a small one. "So we both have stories told about us." Jace nodded. "But stories aren't always true." A long silence followed. The fire orb flickered gently. Zara looked at him. "Do you want to marry me?" Jace didn't answer right away. Then he said, "I don't know you, but I don't hate the idea of learning." Zara didn't expect that answer. She thought he would refuse, maybe even walk away. But instead, he spoke honestly. She stood up and walked toward the window. "If we do this, It will be watched by every world in this system. If we fail, it could lead to war. Jace came to stand beside her. Then we don't fail. His answer was simple, but it hit hard. Later, when Zara returned to her chamber, she stared at her reflection in the mirror. She touched the necklace around her neck and ancient symbol of her bloodline. This was not the life she had imagined. She had trained as a warrior, studied as a scholar, dreamed of flying her own ship into the stars. Now she was being asked to marry a man from a different species for the sake of peace. And yet, there was something about Jace. He was not like the others. He didn't beg or try to impress. He didn't look at her like a prize. He looked at her like an equal. She didn't know if that meant anything yet, but it was a start. Far away in a quiet Earth base orbiting a nearby moon, a general watched the meeting through a secure feed. "Do you think the plan will work?" one of the aides asked. The general nodded slowly. "If anyone can form a bridge between our worlds, it's Jace and that girl. She's not just royalty. She's strong, smart. Maybe they'll surprise us all." The next morning came with a soft violet sky. On the planet Velmara, the sun didn't rise suddenly. It glowed into life, spreading gentle warmth across the tall crystal towers. Birds with golden wings flew over the royal palace, singing a song that only the Velmarans understood. Zara didn't sleep much. Her mind kept returning to the human soldier Jace. He had surprised her. He was calm, brave, and didn't act like the men from her world. He didn't try to flatter her or show off. That was rare. She wore her training robe that morning, simple and dark blue. She didn't want to wear anything fancy for what came next. Today, she would meet Jace again, but not in a quiet room. This time it would be in front of an audience. She stepped into the grand arena. She saw the seats already filling with nobles, generals, and royal family members. Her mother sat high above in the queen's golden box, watching everything closely. Zara's boots touched the sand of the arena floor. Across from her stood Jace, wearing light battle armor made from Earth's strongest alloys. He held no weapons. Neither did she. A voice echoed through the arena. "Today, the human and the princess shall test their strength, skill, and spirit. This is not a battle of hate, but of understanding." Jace stepped forward. "I don't wish to hurt you," he said, loud enough for her to hear. Zara smirked. "That's good, because I don't plan on letting you." The crowd laughed softly, but Jace didn't move. He studied her form, her stance, her breathing. He wasn't underestimating her. That was the first smart thing he did. The signal came. Soft chime in the air. Zara moved first, fast as lightning. She darted forward, spun low, and swept her leg toward Jace's ankles. Angled at him, encountered with a sidestep. Grab, she twisted away, using his weight to flip him onto the sand. But before he landed, he rolled and came back on his feet like a trained warrior. She was impressed. Most couldn't recover so quickly. For the next few minutes, they exchanged moves, fluid, powerful, respectful. Neither went for killing strikes. This wasn't about winning or losing. It was about showing who they were. Zara landed a light palm on Jace's chest. He stepped back, smiling. "Point for you?" he said. "Keep counting," she replied. But just as Zara prepared for another move, Jace did something unexpected. He dropped his stance completely, raised his hands, and stepped back. Zara blinked. "What are you doing?" "I'm not your enemy," he said. "You're faster than me, smarter, stronger. But I'm not here to fight you." The crowd went silent. Even the queen leaned forward in her chair. Zara's voice was calm but sharp. "So you give up?" "No," Jace said. "I showed trust." He dropped to one knee, a peaceful gesture among humans. "If we're to be allies, partners, then it starts with me." Zara didn't know what to do at first. No warrior had ever surrendered to her like this. Not with strength, but with honor. Slowly, she lowered her arms. "You're strange, human." Jace looked up. "You're not like I expected either." The crowd didn't cheer. They didn't know what to make of what they just saw. But deep in her heart, Zara knew this moment mattered more than 1,000 battles. She walked forward, stopped beside Jace, and offered him her hand. "Get up," she said. He took her hand and stood, and the arena finally clapped. Not loud, but enough to say they understood. After the match, Zara returned to her chambers. Her personal assistant, Mira, followed her in. "You handled that well," Mira said. "The nobles are talking. I don't care what they say," Zara replied, sitting near the window. "Jace is not weak. He chose peace over pride." Nodded. Perhaps the queen chose well. Zara wasn't sure about that yet. Meanwhile, in his guest quarters, Jace removed his armor. He looked at the ceiling, thinking about what had just happened. Back on Earth, he was trained to survive, to fight, to lead. But nothing had prepared him for Velmarius, especially not for Zara. She moved like wind but hit like steel. And yet there was softness in her eyes. A knock came at the door. He opened it to find a small royal messenger. The boy handed him a crystal disc and bowed. Jace placed the disc on the table. A hologram of Queen Velmara appeared, life-sized. "Human soldier," the queen said. "Your actions in the arena were unusual, but not unwise." He crossed his arms. "I wasn't trying to impress anyone." "I know. That is why it worked," she replied. "You may not be Velmaron, but you carry honor. My daughter sees it, and so do I." The image faded. Jace sat down slowly. Royalty. He only did what felt right. That night, under the soft starlight, Zara walked into the training garden. She found Jace already there, sitting by the small pond. He looked up. Couldn't sleep. "Neither could you," she replied. They sat in silence for a while. Then Zara said, "You surprised me today." "You too?" Jace answered. "You could have beaten me easily." "I didn't want to," she said. "Not after I saw how you fought." Jace looked at her seriously. "I didn't come here to take your world. I came because I was told this marriage could bring peace. But if you don't want it, I won't force anything." Zara stared at the stars above. "Don't know what I want yet. But I know I don't hate the idea of finding out." Jace smiled just a little. "That's a good place to start." And under the quiet stars of Velmera, the princess and the soldier sat side by side, not as enemies, not as strangers, but as two people caught in something bigger than either of them could have imagined. A cold wind swept through the morning sky of Velmara. The crystal towers of the capital city shimmered with dew. Today was not a normal day. All across the palace, servants rushed to prepare the royal arena again. But this time, it was not for a ceremony, it was for a test. Inside her chamber, Zara tightened the straps on her dark battle robe. She had not worn this suit in a long time. It was designed for real combat, not friendly duels. Her heart beat faster than usual. A soft knock came at the door. "Enter," Zara said. It was Myra.
Ach.
Her assistant. "The queen has ordered the trial of fire," Myra said carefully. "She says it is time to truly test the human." Zara frowned. "What kind of trial?" Myra hesitated. "He must face you again. But this time, you will use full power. No holding back. The queen wants to know if he can survive under pressure." Zara stood in silence for a moment. She still doesn't trust him. "She never trusts easily," Myra whispered. Neither did Zara. But this test, this was different. This wasn't just about skill. This was about spirit, pride, and loyalty. Jace stood quietly in the royal armory. Velmer on guard helped him into a special armor made for this event. It was light, flexible, and had a strange energy field that buzzed along his skin, could feel power running through it. "You don't have to do this," a voice said behind him. He turned to see Zara. She had come to speak to him before the trial. She wore a long blue coat over her armor, and her eyes glowed slightly under the hallway lights. "Your mother wants to see me fail," Jace said calmly. "She wants to see what you're made of," Zara replied. Jace looked at her. "And what about you?" "I want to see the same," she said. He smiled slightly. "Good. Then we're both ready." The trial of fire was held deep in the heart of the Velmoran Mountains. The arena there was older carved from stone and surrounded by burning gas vents. Fire danced along the edges. Only warriors were allowed to step onto this ground. The audience watched from above. protected by shields. Zara stood on one side, Jace on the other. The ground shook as the drums began. Flames rose along the edges of the stone floor. In the middle, a glowing circle formed a battlefield. "Are you sure you want to do this?" Zara asked, loud enough for only him to hear. "Didn't come this far to walk away now," Jace said. The trial began. Zara moved first. Her speed was shocking. Jace barely blocked the first strike, her foot aimed right for his chest, stumbled back, then rolled and came to his feet. Zara followed fast, throwing 3 more attacks, each stronger than the last. Jace blocked, dodged, and countered. His movements were not as fast, but they were smart. He was reading her rhythm, adapting. Suddenly, Zara's hand lit up with blue fire, her signature power. She launched a wave of energy toward him. Jace ducked under it, the flames brushing his back. He wasn't using weapons or powers, only his training. Zara paused, surprised. "No weapons?" she asked during the break. "No need," Jace said. "You are the weapon." Zara narrowed her eyes. "You fight like a soldier. You move like lightning," Jace said. They clashed again. This time Jace landed a solid hit on her side. She spun and struck his shoulder in return. The fire. Pits around them roared louder, matching their energy. Hours seemed to pass in minutes. The audience above leaned forward, fully caught in the battle. Then something changed. Zara jumped high into the air, gathering all her energy into one powerful strike. A final test. She dropped down like a falling star, ready to finish it. Jace didn't move. At the last second, he raised both hands and caught her attack. The force drove him to one knee. The arena cracked beneath him, but he held firm. Zara's eyes widened. He had stopped her. They stayed locked in that moment, Zara glowing with energy. Jace holding her up, the arena silent. Then Zara stepped back. The flames cooled. "It's enough," she said. The crowd began to cheer. Jace stood, breathing hard but steady. His armor was cracked, his hands burned, but he was still standing. The queen stood from her seat above and raised her hand. "The trial is complete. The human has proven himself." Zara looked at Jace. "You should have fallen," he said, smiling through pain. "But I knew you wouldn't let me." That evening, the palace was filled with talk. Servants whispered of the human who held off the princess. Nobles argued over what it meant. Some still doubted, but most began to see him as more than just a visitor in her chamber. Zara sat by the window, looking at the stars. Jace entered quietly. "You fought well," she said without turning. "You?" "Almost burned me alive," he joked. "You caught me," she said. Jace sat beside her. "You're strong. Too strong for most." "Not for you," Zara said softly. He didn't reply, not with words, but the silence between them grew warm. Zara turned to face him. "Why didn't you give up?" Jace looked at her, serious now. "'Cause I didn't come here to fail. And I didn't want you to think I was weak." Zara smiled for real this time. "You're not weak, Jace. You're just human. You're just. It's impossible," he said. They both laughed. Outside, the stars blinked quietly, and far above the planet satellites turned their eyes toward the pair. The galaxy had taken notice. The wind was calm over the royal palace as the sun set behind the mountains of Velmara. The skies turned shades of gold and violet. The city below sparkled like a sea of light. But inside the quiet garden behind the palace, everything was still. Zara sat on a stone bench near the edge of a small glowing pond. Trees with soft blue leaves surrounded the place. This garden was hidden few. People came here. It was her thinking space. She heard footsteps behind her. She didn't turn. She already knew who it was. "Most people ask before entering my private garden," Zara said. "I'm not most people," Jace replied, walking up beside her. Zara glanced at him. He wore simple clothes, noun armor, no royal guest robes, just a soft gray tunic and dark pants. He looked human, still strong. "I came to thank you," he said. "For trying to blast you in the trial of fire," she asked, half smiling. For trusting me not to fall, Jace replied. Zara looked down at the water. You earned that trust. There was silence again, but it wasn't cold. It was the kind of silence where two people understood each other without needing words. Zara stood and walked to a small tree in the corner. It had golden fruit hanging from its branches. This tree only grows in the presence of peace, she said. Long ago, my ancestors planted it after the First War ended. She picked a fruit and handed it to Jace. It's a sign of calm. We share it with those we respect. Jace took the fruit carefully. I didn't come here for war. Zara looked at him. Then why did you come? Jace thought for a moment. At first I followed orders. Earth's leaders said this marriage could save lives, stop battles, build alliances. But now, I think I stayed because of you. Zara's heart skipped a beat. She didn't show it. You don't even know me. Maybe not fully, Jace said. But every day, I learn more. He took a bite from the fruit. It glowed softly in his hand. Sweet light filled the air. Zara smiled. Most humans find it too strong. Like strong, he said. She raised an eyebrow. Careful soldier. That sounds like flirting. He grinned. Was it working? Zara looked away, but her smile stayed. Maybe. Later that night the stars came out. Velmera's sky was clearer than Earth's. Whole galaxies could be seen with the naked eye. Jace and Zara lay on a flat stone in the garden, side by side, staring up. I've never seen stars like this, Jace said. I've never met someone like you, Zara replied quietly. Jace turned to look at her. You're different from what I expected. You're not just a princess. You're a fighter, a thinker. And you're not just a soldier, she said. You have heart. They didn't speak for a while. Then Zara asked, do humans believe in fate? Some do, Jace said. I think we believe in choice more than fate. What would you choose? Zara asked. If you could walk away from all of this right now? Jace looked at her. I'd stay. Even if this ends in trouble? Even then, Zara didn't reply. But she reached out slowly and took his hand. They stayed that way for a long time, far above the palace, the royal command tower. Queen Velmera watched a screen showing her daughter and the human. One of her advisors stood beside her. They're getting close. The queen didn't answer right away. Her face was unreadable. Should we stop it? The advisor asked. The queen shook her head. Let it grow. But if she falls for him, she already has, the queen said. That may be the only thing that saves this alliance. The next morning, Zara was training in the open field behind the palace. Her sword moved through the air like flowing wind. Her strikes were sharp, clean, perfect. Jace watched from the side, impressed. You're really good, he said. She didn't stop. I've trained since I was a child. Show me, Jace said, stepping forward. Teach me. Your way. Zara looked at him, amused. You want to fight me again? No. I want to learn, he said. So she handed him a practice staff. First she said, stop thinking like a human. Velmera fighting isn't about speed or force. It's about balance. Jace listened carefully. Zara guided his arms. Adjusted his feet, corrected his form. As they moved together, something deeper formed a rhythm between them. They trained for hours. Sometimes they laughed when he messed up. Sometimes she pushed him harder. But all the time, they grew closer. After training, he sat beneath a glowing tree, drinking cold star water. I didn't expect this, Zara said. This, Jace asked. This connection. Jace nodded. Me neither. Zara turned to face him. My mother sent me to marry a stranger, but I'm not sure you're a stranger anymore. Jace looked into her eyes. Then what am I? She didn't answer. Not with words. Instead, she leaned closer and placed her forehead gently against his. It was the Velmera way of showing trust. Jace closed his eyes. Whatever this is, I want to protect it, Zara whispered. So do I. And in that moment, with no audience, no soldiers, no politics, they were just two people finding something real, but far away. In the shadows of the outer colonies, a different kind of meeting was taking place. A group of cloaked figures stood In a dark chamber, holograms of both Zara and Jace hovered above a black table. "They are growing close," one voice said. "We cannot allow this bond," said another. "If the princess sides with the human, the balance of power will shift." "We must act," a third voice said. A cold silence filled the chamber. "Begin the plan, quietly, before it's too late." And so while love began to bloom under the stars of Velmara, danger also began to rise in the dark corners of the galaxy. The rain came slowly on Velmara that night, soft and glowing like silver threads from the sky. The palace, made of crystal, stone and smooth black metal, looked calm on the outside. But inside Zara's heart, a storm was beginning. She walked down a long hallway deep under the palace, far from the eyes of guards or nobles. The lower levels were old and quiet. She had discovered them by mistake during training years ago, but never told anyone. Now, something had pulled her here again. Zara carried a small torch, even though the walls lit up faintly. She reached a sealed door. The symbol above it was faded and covered in dust. House Velmara, records of the past. She placed her hand on the scanner. It blinked blue, then green. The door opened with a deep hum. Inside, she found a room filled with ancient data crystals, old scrolls, and holograms frozen in silence. She stepped carefully, brushing cobweb-like threads from her path. At the center of the room was a circular platform. On it, a small silver orb rested. She touched it, and it lit up. A voice echoed clear, strong, familiar. "If you're hearing this, my daughter, then you have found what I hope to keep hidden." Zara's eyes widened. It was her mother's voice, recorded years ago. Meanwhile, in his guest room, Jace couldn't sleep. Kept thinking about Zara, about the trial, the garden, the way she had touched her forehead to his. That small act meant more than anything else so far. He stood by the window, watching the rain fall. Across the distant towers, suddenly he saw a flash just for a moment in a nearby rooftop figure. Moving quickly, Jace's instincts kicked in. He opened a hidden panel in the wall and grabbed the compact scanner Earth Tech had given him. It was small but powerful. He scanned the air. Faint signal appeared, unusual energy-cloaked signature. Not Velmer. Someone was spying on the palace back in the ancient chamber. Zara listened as the hologram continued. Double quotes. "Zara, your marriage to a human was not only for peace. There are forces in our galaxy who fear a union between Earth and Velmara. They have already tried to stop it secretly from the shadows. I've kept much from you, to protect you. But now, you must know." Images appeared: dark ships, secret councils, traitors from both Velmara and other star systems. A name appeared. On the screen, the pale circle. Zara felt cold. The voice continued. "If they find out you and the human truly care for each other, they will act. They will try to destroy everything." Suddenly, Zara heard something behind her. She spun around, hand on her side weapon. Jace stood there, breathing slightly hard. "You followed me?" she asked. "I saw someone spying on the palace," he said. "They were using cloaking tech, not yours. Maybe not even ours." Zara stepped forward. "You weren't supposed to see this? You weren't supposed to be alone," Jace said. "Not when someone wants to stop us." Zara looked. "Back at the orb, my mother knew. She knew this danger was coming. She just didn't tell me." "She wanted to protect you," Jace said. Zara's jaw tightened. She wanted to control everything, like always. She walked past Jace, but he grabbed her arm gently. "Zara, wait." She stopped. "I'm with you," he said, "no matter what this is." Zara looked into his eyes. "Even if we're targets now? Especially then?" Jace said. She nodded slowly. "Then come with me. We need answers. And not just from old recordings." Later that day, Zara confronted her mother in the royal hall. The queen sat on her throne, guards beside her. Zara held the silver orb in her hand. "You lied to me," she said loudly. "Sent me into this marriage knowing there were enemies. You kept me blind." The queen stood slowly. "I did what I thought was right. You could have told me the truth," Zara said. I'm not a child. No, you're not, the queen said. That's why you must now decide, do you still want this union, even with danger coming? Zara looked at Jace, standing beside her. Then she looked back at her mother. I want the truth, and I want to protect what we're building. The queen looked at Jace, and you. Yeah. I won't back down, Jace said. Not from this. Not. From her, the queen nodded. Then you must prepare. Both of you. The following day, Jace and Zara entered the palace war room. Large screens showed movement in nearby star systems, unmarked ships, silent transmissions. The pale circle was active again. General Turan, Velmera's lead warrior, stood by the map. They are not sending armies, he said. They are sending spies, saboteurs. They want to break the marriage before it's official. Zara frowned. Then we make it official, Jace turned to her. You mean the ceremony? Zara nodded. Yes. Public. Open. Let the galaxy see that we stand together. Jace looked surprised. You're ready for that? Zara stepped closer to him. Are you? He smiled. Yeah, I am. That night, while the galaxy turned in silence, two people stood on a balcony under the stars. Zara leaned on the railing. Do you believe fate brought us here? Jace stood beside her. No, I think you did. She smiled. We have enemies. Let them come, Jace said. We'll face them together. And in the distance, beyond the stars, forces began to move. Ships changed course. Shadows gathered. The pale circle had heard the news. But so had the people of Earth and Velmara. The bond between the human soldier and the alien princess was no longer just a secret. It was a signal. The palace of Velmara stood tall under the glowing stars, but tonight it felt heavy, too quiet. Like the calm before a storm. Inside, guards walked their usual paths. Servants lit lamps in the hallways, but none of them noticed the shadow moving between the walls. In the high tower, Zara stood near a mirror, adjusting her ceremonial robe. Her heart beat faster than usual. The ceremony was just days away. She had decided to move forward with the union publicly, without fear, but deep inside, something felt wrong. There had been more strange movements in the outer systems, secret transmissions, unmarked ships hiding near Velmera's moons. Jace and Zara had already uncovered one layer of secrets. Now they feared more were coming. She heard a knock at her door. It's me, Jace's voice said. Zara opened the door. Jace stepped in, wearing simple clothes, but his eyes were sharp. I just checked the palace scanners, he said, and one of the defense towers has gone dark. Zara narrowed her eyes. Which one? North side. Closest to the emergency hangars? Zara didn't wait. She grabbed her wrist communicator. Guard Station Alpha report on Tower 9. There was silence. Then static. Zara looked at Jace. Something's happening. Just moments later, alarms echoed through the palace. Red lights lit the hallways. A voice shouted through speakers. Breach detected. Section North 4. All royal personnel to secure areas. Zara and Jace ran through the hall, boots striking the metal floor. As they turned a corner, an explosion rocked the walls behind. Then the sound of crashing steel filled the air. Zara pulled out a small energy blade. They've already reached the inner wing, she said. Jace scanned the hallway. Too fast, they must have someone on the inside. They passed two guards lying unconscious on the floor. Not dead, just stunned. Clean work. Professional. This isn't a random attack, Jace said. They came to take someone. Zara nodded me. Back in the throne room, Queen Velmara stood with her generals, directing troops to defend key positions. They are not here to conquer, General Torrens said. They are here to break the royal bond. They get to your daughter, they won't, the queen said. Her voice was cold and strong. But inside, worry burned. Zara and Jace reached the lower hangar bay. It was already damaged. Part of the ceiling had collapsed. A group of masked attackers stood near the exit doors. They wore armor that didn't belong to any known world. Jace pulled Zara behind a support pillar. We can't go forward, he whispered. Zara looked around quickly. There's a secret tunnel behind the loading chamber. Jace followed her as she pressed a hidden panel on the wall. A small door opened. He slipped inside and sealed it behind them. They moved fast through the narrow passage. The sound of distant explosions echoed behind them. Jace glanced at Zara. "You okay?" She nodded. "I've trained for battle since I was a child, but this feels different." "It is," Jace said. "They don't want to defeat you. They want to erase you." Zara tightened her jaw. "Then we make sure." They fail. As they reached the end of the tunnel, Zara opened a hidden hatch. It led to the royal shuttle dock, outside the palace wall. One small scout ship stood ready. "We can use that to escape," Zara said. Jace looked behind them. "We need two." "Go now." They ran for the ship, climbed inside, and activated the controls. Just as the engines powered up, the side doors burst open. 3 enemy agents rushed in, weapons raised. Zara jumped into the pilot's seat. "Hold them off." Jace grabbed the defense gun and returned fire quick, precise, controlled. He stunned 2 of them. The third dove for cover, but the ship had already lifted off. Zara flew fast, dodging energy blasts and flying debris. The city below glowed like a web of lights. The sky above was full of enemy ships. Jace looked at the scanners. "They've surrounded the planet." Zara's eyes narrowed. "Then we're going through them." She pressed a switch. The scout ship shot forward with a burst of speed, climbing high toward the edge of the atmosphere. Enemy fighters gave chase. Jace moved to the rear guns. "I've got them," he fired, striking one ship's wing. It spiraled away. Another got close too. Close. Zara rolled the ship hard to the left, dodging a missile. Jace fired again, hitting the second target. "They're fast," he said, "but we're faster." She replied. Back in the palace, the queen watched the sky from her command tower. The guard approached. "Princess Zara's ship has escaped the surface." The queen closed her eyes for a moment, then turned to her staff. "Send a signal to Earth Command. Tell them the Alliance is under attack." Zara and Jace finally broke free of the planet's gravity. The stars stretched wide before them. "We need a safe place to land," Jace said. Zara checked the map.
What?
"There's an abandoned station near the edge of this system. No one goes there anymore." "Perfect," Jace said, as the ship flew into deep space. Both of them sat in silence, exhausted, covered in smoke and bruises. But alive, Zara leaned her head back. "You were supposed to be preparing for a wedding." Jace gave a tired smile. "Guess this counts as a honeymoon escape." Zara laughed softly. Even in the middle of danger, he made her smile. She looked at him. "They won't stop, Jace. Not until we're separated, or worse." "Then we never let that happen," Jace said. He reached out and took her hand. "I promised I'd stand with you. I meant it." Zara nodded. "I'll fight beside you. Wherever this goes." Outside their window, space stretched forever. But they weren't running. They were planning. Together, the stars stretched across the black sky like scattered diamonds. Zara's small scout ship glided through the silence of space, heading toward a forgotten station hidden near the edge of the Velmara system. Inside the cockpit, Zara held the controls steady. Her face looked calm, but her eyes were sharp and focused. Jace sat beside her, watching the radar screen. "No ships behind us for now," he said. "Looks like we lost them." "For now," Zara replied, "but they'll be searching." "Need to disappear." He glanced out the window. "So, this secret place, are you sure it's still there?" Zara gave a small smile. "I've only been there once. My uncle used to bring me there when I was younger. He said it was built during the old wars. No one uses it anymore." Jace leaned back in his seat. "Sounds perfect." After an hour of silence, a faint signal blinked on the radar. "There," Zara said, "behind that asteroid belt." They moved carefully through the rocks until an old station came into view. It was large, silent, and floating among debris. Parts of it were damaged. The outer walls had scorch marks and cracks, but the main dock still looked intact. Jace whistled softly. "It looks like it's been asleep for 100 years. Zara slowed the ship and opened the landing bay doors. They entered the station and docked safely. As the engines powered down, the lights inside the old station flickered on, one by one. A low humming sound filled the halls. Life support was still active. Inside the station, the air was cold and thin but safe to breathe. Zara and Jace walked through the dusty corridors. Broken screens, old banners, and faded signs marked the rooms. Some doors wouldn't open, others creaked slowly. "This place gives me chills," Jace said. Zara nodded. "It was used during the first contact wars. My people hid here when enemies surrounded the system." They reached the central control room. Zara wiped dust off a panel and connected her wrist computer to the system. "It still works," she said, surprised. "I can reboot the station core, get basic defenses running, and hide our ship's signal." Jace smiled. "You're not just a warrior, a tech genius too." Zara looked at him sideways. Careful. That sounded like flattery. "Maybe it was," Jace replied. For the next few hours, they worked together. Jace cleared debris from the hallways and repaired the internal lights. Zara fixed the station's radar system and sealed damaged doors. Slowly, the old base came to life again. They took a break near the food station. Zara handed Jace a small meal pack from Velmara. "It tastes like burned leaves," Jace said after one bite. "That's because it is," Zara replied with a smirk. "It's healthy." Jace opened a ration bar from Earth and offered it to her. "Try this." She chewed it slowly, then made a face. "Too sweet, too dry." They laughed. In this lonely station, surrounded by the cold of space, their bond kept growing. Later that night, Zara sat alone in the main room, staring at the stars through the window. Jace walked in quietly. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded slowly. "Just thinking about home." Jace sat beside her. "Yes," she said. "My mother, the palace, my people. I wonder what's happening now. They'll be looking." "For you," Jace said. "Both sides." Zara turned to him. "Do you regret coming with me?" "Never," he said. "I chose you. I still do." Zara smiled faintly. "They tried to separate us. They failed." "They'll try again," Jace said. "Then we'll be ready," she answered. They sat in silence for a while, listening to the hum of the station. Then Zara said, "We need to send a message. Not just to Velmar, but to Earth too." Nodded. "Let them know we're alive and not running." The next morning, they activated the long-range communication system. It was old, but powerful. Zara recorded a message. Her voice was steady. "This is Princess Zara of Velmara. I am alive. I was targeted by forces trying to stop the alliance between our people and Earth. I escaped with the help of Jace Ward, a human soldier, my chosen bondmate. Oh, we now stand together, not as pawns, but as partners. If peace is to survive, truth must rise. We are not hiding. We are preparing." Jace added his own part. "To Earth Command, this isn't just a marriage. It's a choice. We want peace, but not peace built on lies or silence. Stand with us." They sent the message across both networks. Then they waited. Back on Velmara, Queen Velmara received the message. She listened in silence. Her advisors stood around her, nervous. "She's alive," one of them said. "And she's made her choice," said another. The queen didn't speak. She stared at the frozen screen for a long moment. Then she whispered, "My daughter has grown stronger than I ever expected." Meanwhile, in the dark corners of space, the Pale Circle leaders gathered. Their spies had failed. Their soldiers had missed the target. Now the galaxy knew the truth. "They've sent their message," one of them said. "Then it's time to respond," said another. "No more tricks. We will break their bond in open fire." A fleet began to move from the shadows, silent. Large, deadly back at the station. Zara checked the scanners. Her eyes narrowed. "Ships are coming," she said. "A lot of them, marked." No reply to our signal. Jace stood up quickly. "It's them." Zara looked at him. "Then it's time? Time for what?" he asked. She pulled out 2 energy weapons and tossed one to him. "Time to defend what we've built?" They stood together at the command deck. Alone in a forgotten station, surrounded by stars and enemies, they were ready. Not as strangers, not as a forced marriage, but as two warriors bonded by trust, preparing to face the storm.